Like I said, I had 2 before that I failed. They didn't fail, I failed. It's been instrumental. Like, I'm down to 0 every day, which
That's
there
wild.
isn't like 8,000.
I probably have like 8,000 in mind. So
Yeah,
you tell me your secrets. Pen is ready. That's the
right.
mistake.
But then when you say, "Oh, it'll just take me 15 minutes." Well, it's 15 minutes every time you're gonna do it, and most of our
Right.
actions are repetitive, right? We do the same
Exactly.
thing with every client.
Today's episode is brought to you by Andy Bovender, the founder of the Bovender team out of the Carolinas. Him and his team have helped more than 5,000 families. Yeah, you heard that right. 5,000 of them. So if you have that client who's been thinking about making a move to or from that area, they are the trusted agents to call. Today, I sit down with Tanya Jones, and she shares the area of her business that she is most proud of. Additionally, she shares how she's able to spend so much time in that one area of her business. A little cliffhanger there. Additionally, I really appreciate how much time you're investing or about to invest in this episode. And I also know that you also have a lot of things to do. So to help you expedite and kind of compress time, because I know you don't have extra time, but you can maximize the time you do have while you are listening, I'm going to give you in this episode a really simple task that you can do to push your needle forward while you're tuning in. And with that, I'm your host and referral partner out of San Francisco, Sean Kunkler. Tanya, I don't know how we haven't done this yet.
It's been on the list for a while. We have been working for about, I think, 8 months to get it together.
Clearly, we don't have our stuff together. We're too busy
Right,
doing
right,
doing
yeah,
too much.
but it's
I
getting
have to say though, I'm honestly between you and John, I'm in awe, and I hats off. I see you all everywhere, like in person, online, in my inbox, on social media. I'm always like, what are you doing? How are you doing this?
working.
It is working.
As long as you're still happy to see us, that's the bigger takeaway.
Great point. And they're all welcomed. They're all welcomed.
Okay, witness, this is recorded, right?
um, uh, yeah. So, I mean, let's start. I want to kind of dig into the way that you think about business, and more specifically with networking, because I feel like you think about it a little bit differently, and then I think you approach it with this level of intention that's not standard.
Well, for me, it's really about finding a problem that I can solve. And
Mm,
part of what I love, and probably not just part, really what I love the most about Compass
yeah.
is that it's very culture driven. And the culture of, my favorite is the oh God, what is it now? I'm blanking. Oh my goodness. Collaborate without ego.
Yeah.
Uh and that's really what I see what John and I is doing consistently, always. We love
Mm,
to invite people who are outside of our area to come in, and we'll put together some sort of a networking group if we can do a cocktail hour, a lunch, a dinner.
yeah.
And so that agent can meet a bunch of agents here in our beautiful Bay Area.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just really about continuing that culture. When my previous brokership, it was called Paragon Real Estate, and just like
Yeah.
5 offices in the Bay Area, I always say we got married to Compass and I was part of the dowry. Um, when we at Paragon, we were very collaborative,
Mhm, mhm,
where it was
mhm.
very noticeable from my previous brokerage prior to Paragon. I thought, who are these people that actually help me? Who
Yeah.
actually, share their vendors with me, who are actually sharing ideas and encouraging me to get online and social media. That was not something that happened at my prior brokerage. They were very tight with their information. And
Mm.
even at that time, I was licensed in 1998 and have just done full-time real estate since then. So,
Yeah.
and had some experience. So Paragon was just like, "Oh," and then when we jumped right into Compass, I don't know if it was the chicken or the egg, but they definitely adopted us with warm arms,
Yeah.
and that is the part that I just always wanted to continue.
Yeah.
So when we had 6 AMers kinda start up, that felt very much like a big hug, it was very supportive,
Yeah.
especially in the beginning when, one of our first Zoom office meetings, which I hadn't done Zoom before COVID and all that, I had a mantra, "I will sell a house again. I will sell a house."
I remember those days.
Right? We were shut down. We weren't told we were
Yeah.
important enough to continue. So, and just everybody was just so supportive. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
it takes a team. My office manager, Michelle Lee, is absolutely amazing
Yeah.
and so much experience, so much support. You just always felt like you were, again, just kind of wrapped in a hug, but
Yeah.
with structure
Yeah.
and encouragement to keep going. So, as 6
Huh.
Hammers kinda started to fade away, John and I saw a problem that needed to be solved.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just us, by the way. We had people knocking on our door, ringing the doorbell, "Hello, you guys need to fill the void." So, uh, I was probably a little more reluctant because it's time, and John's
Yes.
all in, "Let's do it," and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, okay." So, I agreed to once a month. So we have our little Zoom call that we do the first Thursday of every month, and
Yeah.
that has been great. And then connecting 3rd Thursdays, we continue to have agents come in and get together. We had one last night, great group of people, and, we get people that come from out of town, we get people that come from out of state.
Yeah.
We've got Erin Volt coming and, hosting. She's in Idaho. She's out of our Boise office, and she's hosting our February meeting, which is just awesome.
Amazing. That
Yeah,
is super cool.
you should come join us. Erin is amazing, by the way. Everybody out there watching, if you need a Boise, Idaho agent, Erin Volk is your girl.
It's funny. I have friends who live there, so please ping me. I
Yes.
would
Oh,
love to check it
absolutely.
out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you and I had so many weird little connections. Like we've never really sat down. So I love that you're doing this with me. So I don't know if you know this, but I came from Paragon also.
I thought so, but
And I don't know if we ever
we've
crossed
never
paths. And
talked about
it
it,
was
no.
small. It was only like 136, if I remember correctly, agents. It
Yeah.
wasn't like a big mega broker. It was a boutique. Amazing.
And Danville was just such a small side segue to
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fascinating. So yeah, that culture. Oh, I miss it. I love I my direct manager was Sally, and I hold her in such amazingly high regard. She was so incredible and helpful, and I don't think I would have been the agent I am today without her guidance.
Is it amazing
Um,
the influence they have on us?
Amazing. And then funny enough, literally right before this, I was grabbing a quick bite to eat. But right before that, I was on a call for an hour with Sky, who is the was kind of
The
the
basis of what we're talking about right now is Sky Michaels.
yes.
Yes.
Sky Michaels is
Yeah.
kind of the guy who created and shaped this whole 6 AMers, and then you
100%.
two are now running with. That's what I love about this industry is it's so small. It's so small, and we're all if we just put our egos aside for a second,
Yep.
there's so many amazing opportunities to collaborate and just help each other's business. The Kennedy quote, which I live and die by, is "A rising tide lifts all ships."
I love that.
I just think it's like the spirit of I think it's an opportunity for all of us to do that.
Yep, I agreed.
I want to pause really quick. This is a way big segue and way off topic, but I know a lot of agents are always multitasking. We're doing 50 things at once. If you're listening to this podcast, let me give you a really simple thing to do. It's out of the Ace Your Day deck for the next 15 minutes. While you're listening to Tanya share her best kept secrets, hop onto Instagram and leave a friendly comment on somebody's post, not real estate related. Celebrate them, encourage them, but just be genuine and look for the ways to build a relationship with somebody online. So you got 15 minutes, do that in tandem while you're listening. Back to the show.
Love it.
Wow, it's really cool. I didn't realize that was your journey in coming over to Compass. And I do appreciate the way you said dowry opposed to other ways we can feel about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are many ways to put that, but I had I had rolled over from Milan Pinnell into Paragon.
Oh, interesting.
I'd only been with Paragon for just, I don't know, 3 months, maybe 4 months
Yeah.
before the marriage happened. And so I was just kind of rolling, I was still learning new things, and it's hard to imagine because at that point I'd been with Milan Pinnell for 14 years.
Oh my
And
goodness.
prior to that, I'd worked with another brokerage, just I don't even mention it, for a little under a year. Prior to that, I worked with KB Homes, sold new construction for a few years,
Oh wow.
but
Okay.
started with Coldwell Banker. So again in 1998. So a long
Yeah.
time, a while.
Yeah, sounds
Uh,
like you have some experience.
a little bit, a little bit. Uh,
What was the tipping point for you? When did you really realize that collaboration and those relationships were the core of the business?
it really was when I came over to Paragon.
Really? It kind of all those
Well,
different.
not really the core of the business with my clients. No, I definitely realized that actually more so when I was selling new construction because
Interesting.
they were a little tougher sell. In one regard, it's a lot like retail, which I have a strong background in retail management.
Yeah.
But, the buyers just come to you, but you
Yeah.
have to work really hard. Where I was working, it was a new community, East Bay in Brentwood, if you're familiar with that far out from the city. It's far.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, there were 80 builders. Brentwood just grew, it exploded,
Wow.
and this is the early 2000s.
Okay.
And so they were comparing not just your available homes, which there were so many as we opened up new communities on a regular basis, but there were just so many communities. So you had to sit there and figure out which style of home you were going to look at, but then you were comparing builders and their different floor
Uh,
plans, plus their different amenities, plus their reputations. So you had to work pretty hard, and getting the relationship built was harder because I'm a work by referral kind of a girl.
yeah.
So when I'm not working with the builder, everybody's being introduced to me. So they're warm handoffs. So
Yeah.
their likelihood of closing is much, much, much higher. Sure, they don't all work out, but for the most part they do. So, but working at a builder, you had to do a lot more selling, but really selling yourself along with that. You had to give them a reason to wanna come back and visit you guys. Some
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different, I can see that. It's a different, especially when somebody has so many things that they're comparing and deciding on, and then you're trying to fabricate a relationship out of absolute thin air to build their trust on
and
top of it
people were
all.
shopping just like you might shop for a pair of jeans, where
Yeah.
there's 10 stores that carry the jeans that you kinda like, and so when people approach you, you're like, "Oh, no, thanks, I'm just looking. We're good here. Don't talk
Yeah.
to me." And that's how people are when they're looking at houses, when they have so many
Yeah.
to look at. They don't have to sit there and go around house to house with the realtor.
Yeah. And it's true. And then being the consumer on that side is you go into that hypnotic state of regardless of what they say to you, you're like, nope, just looking.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah,
you're just trying to shut it down.
yeah.
Um, at what point in your business did you start structuring intentional systems and activities to build out or to focus on your networking and your relationship side of things? I can talk really great today.
It's Friday. It was probably 2005, 2006. I started looking a little more
Mm.
seriously at coaching
Oh, interesting.
and started with the Buffini programs and started doing the calls, notes, and Popeyes that he is famous for
Yeah.
touting to all of his realtors. And I coached with Brian for 11, 12 years.
Oh my goodness. That's a huge run.
Yeah, it was a long time. And then COVID happened, and then
Yeah.
it just kind of fell apart, the in-person meetings and coaching sessions died, as it did pretty much everywhere, but
Yeah.
he, the he hadn't figured out quite yet how to pivot into video before I started seeing stuff about Tom Ferry. And it was at a time, it was like in August, and I was desperate for some coaching. I needed some sort of, we weren't back in the office yet. So, the people you're seeing is very few, still everybody's still
Yeah.
masking heavily. And so it was great to hop on a Zoom call with 5,000 other agents.
Holy jeez.
Yeah, it was, his summit, which happens every August, and usually
Holy
it's an
cow.
in-person event, and obviously because of COVID that year, they couldn't do it, so they managed to plan a Zoom call, and I was in awe that they could pull that off, and also, like, giddy because I got a bunch of information, and I got all the feeding that I needed so that I was like, "Let's
Yeah.
go!"
There is 100%. There's something to be said about just without being woo woo about it. The energy of being in the room, like being
Abs
around it, hanging out with it. Like
Yeah.
it's infectious. It changes. I think your brain. I don't know the science behind it, but I feel like it changes your brain chemistry, and you're like, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go do this thing now. That's more or less the birth of this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Is we're stuck, we're isolated. I really want an opportunity to hang out with people who are moving and shaking, but thinking about things differently. There's the doom and gloom, and if you hang out with them long enough, they'll drag you down to their level. And there's the other high producing agents who will pull you up to their level. And I wanted to hang out with them. And so it went through a couple iterations before this one. And so that was really what that was the core of what sparked it.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, I call it, it's drinking the Kool-Aid. I had my first sip and I'm still coaching with Tom Ferry. Just got back from San Diego. We just had our elite retreat for a few
Oh,
days. The weather was
incredible.
phenomenal. I wish I could have stayed a couple extra days, but I took a late flight home Wednesday. I had inspections on Thursday, just, nonstop.
I'd be willing to bet the hardest part of your day isn't the work. It's the mental load. It's the decision fatigue. It's the shuffling of priorities while you're already playing catch up. You're checking off things from your to-do list just as fast as they're getting added. And I'd also be willing to bet some of those meaningful business relationships you've had in the past have begun to fade. Ace Your Day is a physical deck of 52 strategic cards designed to halt fatigue. Refined by real world results, this system replaces chaos of a to do list with a curated set of high impact actions. It's simple. Set a timer for 15 minutes, draw a card, and make your move. The deck handles the thinking, you drive the business. Building a secure business should not be a guessing game. Let's stop overthinking the day and trust a system that prioritizes connections and relationships. Let the deck handle the strategy. You focus on the results. Click the link in the description to reclaim your day 15 minutes at a time. It's funny. I was talking to Jillian Adler this morning, who's from Boston. And she's like, it's 11 degrees. And I was like, that's insane. I'm like, my window is literally open right now.
Yeah, yeah. My daughter just graduated from University of Michigan, and she's a winter graduate. I had to go back and help her move everything out, and I checked the weather, and it's 2 degrees, -10.
Oh my goodness.
So cold. Your dog saying hello. Hello in the nicest way possible.
She heard something happen 4 streets over, I'm sure.
Oh, and she needs to let them know she heard it.
She lets everybody know who's boss.
What kind of dog do you have?
An Australian cattle dog.
Oh.
And she's barely 40 pounds, but thinks she's like 200.
Oh,
And
right. Uh-huh. Is she constantly hurting you, like, running around your legs as you're trying to walk?
This is so funny, and it's really bad, but if you're going downstairs, she'll literally like nose the back of your knees. And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna like buckle one
She's
of
like,
these
hurry
days.
up.
Yeah, she's
You're about to
totally
take a
like, we're
tumble.
going here. Like, I want to go play. Hurry up. What are you doing?
Oh, that's
She's
great.
awesome. Super smart, but she
Yeah,
gets
they
a
are
wild
smart.
hair and just starts barking incessantly.
She's got something to say.
She's got a lot to say.
I love it.
Yeah, there's always something crazy with that one. She's 13 months.
Oh, oh, she's a young one.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh my
You
goodness.
a puppy.
It's been a long journey.
Oh, goodness. That's great. Where'd you get
Um,
her?
we actually got her from a breeder up north. Um, who, yeah, her parents are like, we're not showing her doing anything, but her parents were all
Show
special.
dogs. They're so pretty.
She was just super like when I saw her, like I was like, oh my God, that's the one. So yeah,
Tanya Jones. It's great. What's her
she's
name?
Scout.
Aw.
Her ears just perked up. She was like, wait, what?
Pointed at me?
What are we doing? Toys? Can I destroy something?
Uh-huh. I'm not gonna say any of the words.
Yeah, don't say who's that.
WALK.
Oh no, or who's there?
PREAT.
What's really funny is raising a puppy and working with her. So many parallels to business and clients.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. And
They need lots of attention.
yeah, they need clear leadership. If you show up frantic and anxious, they're
Right.
frantic and
That's not
anxious.
gonna be good. Yeah, lots of structure.
Clear, like
Yes.
clear structure as to what's happening.
Boundaries.
Boundaries.
One of
They
my
do.
favorite words, boundaries.
Everybody does better with a schedule.
Yeah.
There's so many parallels. It's funny. I did a recording with Courtney Smith, and it just kept coming up. It was like the parallels between raising a puppy and working with agents, working with clients, working in the business.
And
There's
raising children.
lots of them. Yeah, getting them on sleep
They're all begging
schedules.
for boundaries.
Um,
I say John is too. He's just like a child. I have to give him lots of boundaries.
So you and John are business partners, and then you. Am I correct in saying that you guys have admin support?
Yeah, we share 3 VAs.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a lot. And so I'm imagining they're kind of running a lot of the stuff behind the scenes, as is why I'm seeing you all in so many
And we're getting
places.
better at letting them do that. Yeah.
Say more
It
about that.
start out that way. And then, as we continue to get better at using their talents and their skills that we hired them for, I think that is the biggest thing that I hear from most agents is they struggle in working with their VAs and keeping their VAs busy. They don't know what to give them. And it's almost like working with the AI. You have to think bigger than just the automatic,
Yes.
check my email for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've definitely started to put in some systems that are more automatic through the VAs' skills and talents and what they're good at, and keeping them in their lanes. I hear so many people hire a VA and they expect them to not only be able to do everything, but then also to read our minds, to know what we want them to do in that everything world. And that, that just, it doesn't work. It never does. And so, I mean, I feel that 2 different VAs prior to getting one.
Yeah.
We work with Sphere Rocket. There's no plugs, just sharing. And then I loved her so much. And then John was chirping and getting jealous. And so I said, well, I probably have some hours, that you could, start to use her for. And we realized quickly, like, it wasn't enough, and we needed somebody else. So we've got one, Catherine, who handles our marketing, and then we needed somebody to do more administrative things. So
Yeah.
we hired Pon, and then John's been doing a lot of video. So we got a video editor to help him on that side. I'm working towards it. I send her things like reels. I just got back from Tom Ferry, so I have a bunch of things I'll send over to her and ask her to put something together for me so I can just have like a nice summary.
Yeah.
Because when you get back from one of those events, you don't have time to sit down and go
Yeah.
through it all. So I just send it to her, tell her to do it, tag all the people, boom.
Yeah. I mean, to go back to your earlier point in having so many conversations with amazing agents, I would actually say the life expectancy of a VA is about 3 months. And
Yeah,
it's agents usually just abruptly fire them because they made a mistake. But to your point, even going back to the dog, there weren't clear boundaries.
no,
And and not for nothing, but the skill set in editing a video is so different from coordinating schedules, which
yes,
is so different than like visual design, which is complete, like they're all just completely different areas of expertise. And then the mistake I see is they try to get this VA for
everything.
pennies on the dollar,
Mhm.
but with the expectation that it's a $250,000 position. And
Right.
it's like, whoa, you're like
Not. Yeah.
way misaligned.
Yeah.
It's like simplify. And I think the other thing with simplifying it is have a very clear set of problems you're trying to solve, and then a very clear expectations of what a successful like newsletter. What does a successful newsletter look like? Is it once a week? Is it twice a week? Is it once a month? And then like what are your expectations around that? Like reduce to the ridiculous until it's executed perfectly.
And it takes a lot of time. Realtors have to dedicate
Yeah.
the time to spend with the VA in the beginning. It all has to happen in the beginning.
In the beginning.
Lorna Hines, that's one of her phrases, in the
Yeah.
beginning. Same thing with a client, right? You can't be with the client for 3, 4, 5 months and then say, "Oh, this is actually something that we work with. This is how we do it." If you didn't say that in the beginning of your transaction with them or of your relationship with them, it just doesn't count.
It's too late.
Yeah, so you have to spend a lot of time, and a lot of agents, they're busy. They're super busy.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Okay, I finally have to hire someone." But actually hiring somebody when you're super busy isn't usually the
The
best
worst.
right.
In additionally, the biggest mistake I find within that is then they go, you know what? So and so in my office is looking to partner. I'm going to bring them in. And now you have two agents, no system, and both are expecting the other person to just magically read their mind.
Figure it out. Yeah,
And then it's like another, you just added more to the equation, but no one's actually solved the problem yet.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but it's really on the flip side because I've been there and I empathetically know how incredibly hard it is when you're frazzled, you're at your wits' end, and you're like, I can do this and it's going to take me 15 minutes, or I can sit down and teach somebody and it's going to take me an hour. I'll just do it. And that's the mistake.
Right. But then when you say, "Oh, it'll just take me 15 minutes." Well, it's 15 minutes every time you're gonna do it, and most of our
Right.
actions are repetitive, right? We do the same
Exactly.
thing with every client.
Yeah.
So if you can take the hour, so say that's 4 sessions, and teach it to your VA and really get that across, then that is a lifetime, or as long as they work for you, that you don't have to do it.
Yeah. It's to your point, it's a 4-time investment.
Yep.
And then once that investment is paid for itself, it's now paying you back because if you're, let's say, $250 an hour, you never have to do that thing ever again.
Right. And then we have them create the SOP for what it is they're doing so that if the one day, because, they will leave us at some
They
point,
will leave. It's
right?
inevitable.
We want them to. Everybody should be growing. It's already there to teach down to the next person. It's not us starting from scratch,
Yeah.
which is huge.
Yeah, it's funny. Even so, I was on a call today and somebody was asking me about how do I produce the podcast? Like, how have I done it consistently for 2 years, or the key components? And we kind of were going through it, and it's a Trello board where it has all the approval processes. And I'm like, to be honest, I can walk you through this, but I don't remember it because I don't look at this anymore.
Right.
Because everybody knows the standards and expectations where they audit themselves, and they know if, you know what, Tanya's audio is not right. Let me just correct that. Like, the lighting's not balanced between the two of them. Let me just fix that. Because they know if it gets to me, I'm going to make them go back and do it anyways. So they
Right.
might as well just do it right the first time. And so, like, I used to spend probably an hour, 3 days a week on the podcast going through all the approvals. I now maybe spend, I'm not exaggerating, maybe 15 minutes, maybe
That's awesome.
a week. That's it. I'm like totally hands off. But again, it's that really slow down, get them up to speed, get them to understand what are the non-debatables, what's the standards, what are the expectations, and then they know we'll just deliver on that each time.
Yeah. We learned, on our podcast, we have, John has a whole to-do list of things he likes to go through, and he likes to make sure that, whoever we have as a guest, we have all their social media tags. We want that in the chat. If they've got a book or a product of some sort, we like to put all the links in the chat. And he used to have all these notes around his computer. He's got stickies everywhere reminding him, hit record. That's the first one.
That's a biggie.
Yeah, that's a biggie. Yes. He's paranoid about forgetting it. But then now we have our assistants on the calls too. And then so we have Pon, who's our administrative assistant. So he's got all the data, he's got everything, he loads them in there. If we've got people whose sound is not right, or somebody forgot to, or they somehow unmuted, he knows to go in and just mute it. He just takes care of it all now. And now we have our digital marketing girl on there too. So she's already kind of making notes of which clips we might use as a highlight.
Yep.
So she's watching along, and then she gets the entire video and she does all the editing. But because she's watching as we go, it's just taking less time on the back end. Right.
Hey friends, I have a small favor to ask. For me to continue to bring you outstanding guests who share their best kept secrets for growing a successful real estate business, please take a moment and hit that like button so agents like you can find this content. And also hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Now back to our show. Yeah. That's smart. That's a really smart way to do it because she's already making notes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really great.
So she can see when, maybe a good point was made or just the chatter was good. You just, instead of having to watch it blindly, she's just taking part. And then there's usually great information. So, I like to think they might be benefiting from the call as well.
That's what it's funny with Marissa, who does all the editing. I'm always like, oh, I hope she's drawing from this too.
Yeah. Because
it's applicable to her, and like those little nuggets that come into play. But I think you made a really important point, is like, when that person realizes, oh, there's chatter, let me mute it. When you empower people and you take the time and you work with them and you empower them, they do those little things. And you're like, oh, that's little. Everybody does that. No, they don't. They don't realize they need to do that.
Again, they're not mind readers.
They're not.
Yeah.
But if you very clearly, the audio needs to be crisp. We can't have a lot of background noise. My dog didn't get the memo. She's now was barking during the podcast.
Scout is fired.
There's so many times I've wanted to fire her. Believe you me. But I think puppies are cute to dupe you. They pull you in. That's how they get you.
Absolutely.
I didn't expect our conversation to go in this direction, but the support aspect of being able to do those things that you enjoy and that are really important for your business, it's paramount. There's no way you and John can be in all these places you are simultaneously without it.
Yeah. So, our administrative assistant, Pon, so we run we try to work those likely to sells that pop up in our CRMs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's been instrumental. Like, I'm down to 0 every day, which
That's
started
wild.
at like 8,000.
I probably have like 8,000 in mind. So
Yeah.
you tell me your secrets. Pen is ready.
So we created, a system through working with somebody on the East Coast who put together a little session, and we realized that John and I didn't actually need to be there because we weren't going to implement any of it. So Pon
Amazing.
went to all of the sessions.
Was it Jenna?
Jenna Leggett, yeah,
Oh, she's amazing. I
she
have
is.
the inner circle group. She's going to be sharing her secrets on it.
Oh, well, take notes and have your assistant pop on
Oh,
because you're
shit.
not going to handle it because that's why you still have 8,000.
Jenna is amazing. And I love, again, it goes back to the collaboration.
Yep.
Like, she's like, oh, I got this amazing thing that I figured out. Here, let me give it to you.
Absolutely. So that's just it. So we started setting pawn to that. So now every day he pops on, and we have, standard emails that go out to each person.
Yeah.
And he asked me, "Do you know them?" So we have a separate email for if it's somebody that we already personally know
Yeah.
versus somebody that just hit the algorithm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we've got those two different ones, and he just sends them out based on whether I know them or not. It's like it takes me like 30 seconds. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Done.
Yeah.
And then, so I was gone in San Diego, right? So he has tasks that he does for me without me even having to be involved now. Just every day, these are the things we do. And then Catherine, who's my marketing assistant, she knows when I like to send out a newsletter. So now she's on it at the beginning of the week. She'll be like, oh, hey, should we start working on that? And I'll say, yes, I want to talk about X this week.
Yeah.
And then she plugs it all together. She goes and she does the research. She uses AI. We have empowered them with our accounts. So everything's in my
Mhm.
voice, just like it's as if I was writing it. She'll send it to me. I'll go into Marketing Center, make a few edits, change a couple things. And usually by the time Friday comes around, which is when I send it out, I say, I want to add X, Y, and Z. Boom. She just does it. I get final
Incredible.
approval and off it goes.
Which, if you kind of unpack everything you just said, I think after all the training to this point, what's your investment? 5 minutes
Now,
to get a
right,
newsletter
right.
plus
That
have
goes
your
out to
likely
like
to
200
sell
people. Right.
and to have your likely to sell down to 0 by the end of the week. 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to rewind, I guarantee it took way more than hours. It was a lot of hours to get
Right.
them up to
Catherine's been
speed.
with me since a y- 2 years almost. We'll be coming up on 2 years in July. That's just as fast, right? VA 2 years? Sure.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Like I said, I had two before that I failed. They didn't fail. I failed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 9 times out of 10, if even if you have an agent who's just not performing well on your team, it's like maybe it was a bad hire. That's on you, not on them.
Maybe.
Like maybe it's a cultural fit. That's
Yeah.
you didn't ask the right questions. Like I think if when we are a little bit more neutral about it and willing to take some ownership, we can usually figure out how to prevent that thing from happening in the future.
Well, when you take ownership, then you're more likely to say, okay, I'm not going to do that again. But when it's
Yes,
their fault, then you're probably going to make the same mistake again.
it's a great point. Yeah, you'll just get into the same pattern
Yeah.
because you'll do the same thing with the same
Because you
expectations.
haven't owned it and figured out how you can fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not this self-deprecating, like, woe is me, I made a mistake. It's just it's interesting from doing all of these recordings. Top performers, I think they have this unique and keen ability. I don't would say top entrepreneurs. They have this really keen ability to observe things how they are and not make them better than they are and not make them worse than they are, but just acknowledge where they're at so then they can take actions accordingly.
Yeah.
And it's unique. Like I don't think that's everywhere or everybody.
Yeah. And I would say the biggest part for me was realizing, and I would have loved for Catherine to be my only VA who did everything.
Yeah.
But knowing that working administrative, that didn't light her up. That wasn't fun for her. So keeping them in their lanes for what they were hired to do, because that's what they applied to do,
Yeah.
then that's where it really made sense.
Yeah. Um, it's funny, within that inner circle group is how John was introduced to Jenna. But somebody also recently was saying they have a few business partners and
We knew
they
Jenna
wanted,
from 6 AMers.
oh, maybe that's where it was
Yeah,
linked from.
yeah. I know he's in that inner circle group, but that was after.
Oh, maybe John introduced Jenna to the inner circle group. That
Oh,
might have
maybe.
sparked but she was talking about it. And then I know there was like this, like a whole group of people were getting together to talk about it. But,
Yeah, she's a rock star in that.
oh shit, I lost what I was going to say.
I interrupted. Sorry.
Yeah, it's gone. I don't know where it is. I don't know what it was.
Uh,
It was amazing though.
I mean, I know. Oh, the world has lost out. Oh no.
I have no idea where it went.
It'll come back to you at 2 AM.
It totally will. Be like, oh,
That's
you
what
know what? And then I will call you. No, I
just do a
won't.
little quick edit.
Oh, that's what it was. There's somebody in the group who they have actually multiple business partners, and they were asking how, if we all had any games or events that are team building, but they are also beneficial for the group. And then I shared that with my two boys at dinner. We always do rosebud thorn. Have you done this?
I have it.
So it's actually pretty interesting, and you can do it in any setting or context. But for the family, it's rose is, what is the thing that happened to you today that lit you up, that made you happy? And then bud is, what's one thing you're looking forward to? And thorn is, what's one thing you wish didn't happen?
Mm.
And then if you just skew it to rosebud thorn in business, you can, if you just listen to the answer and you ask this of an employee and you did it regularly or a business partner, you would hear the areas of the business that really light them up,
Yeah.
because they'll come up as either their bud or their rose. And then, to your point, when people are in their lane and they're doing that thing, you get the best work out of them. Like the best ideas, the best creations, the best systems or organization, it comes out when somebody's like waking up early with joy to go do that thing.
It makes a difference.
It does.
Makes a difference. Their day and your day.
Big time. Yeah. The
rosebud thorn.
Rosebud thorn. And it's really easy. And it's a fun,
Great.
It's a fun, easy way to like start or evolve a conversation. What's the rose of your business for you?
The rose of my business is helping clients when I know that they were feeling frustrated and concerned and worried, and they didn't think they knew where they were going. And then when we come together and we provide solutions and answers and their relief, that's definitely my rose.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Which now it all makes sense, right? It's when you have all that support behind you, your mental bandwidth can be with your client, and you're not worried about, did that thing go out? Is that thing ready to go? You're only focused on that.
Yeah, that's what we're meant to do, right? That's where most of us
Yeah.
get the best out of our business, when we're with our people.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when it all, I mean, we know it. That's like, there's books written on it, flow and flow state. It's like
Yeah.
when you're in that space doing that thing, it's everything. Like, it's like the air is different there.
Yeah. What's your favorite book?
I'm sorry?
What's your favorite book?
My favorite book?
Yeah.
That's
along those lines that we're talking.
Great question. I have so many favorite books. I would actually say The E-Myth.
I haven't read that one.
It's really good. The E stands for entrepreneur, or entrepreneurial. And it's very much in line with what we're talking about is, there's a it's told in a story format, but there's a woman, I think her name is Sarah in the book, and she makes pies. And so then she starts making pies, and then all her friends love them and raving about them. So then she starts a business to sell pies. And then next thing you know, she hires people and she gets this company. And now she's like in the back running the books and ordering stuff. And then she hates her job, hates her life. And she's like,
Right.
hold on,
Yes.
I love making pies.
Yeah.
And so the e-myth is she's supposed to go down this path and she should open this business, which is fine. But the restructure is, how do you then hire all the people to do those things that you don't like to do, so then you can go back to do the thing you actually enjoy doing? So you do wake up early with joy,
Yeah.
and you're in that space, which it's very much sounds like you have done that.
Working on it. Still a work in progress for sure. But yeah, nobody tells you when you're going to open up your own business that you're not only going to make the pies, sell real estate, you're also now the CEO, the CFO, you're head of marketing, you're head of hiring and firing and insurance and, all the things. Here you just said, I like houses and people.
You're like, I just like doing that thing way over there. I think that's another sad part of our industry. I think it's sad with most industries, to be honest. But with ours is, you are doing that thing and you enjoy it and you're doing really great. And so then you hit this threshold of sales, and then it's like, well, there's this now pressure. You should have an admin. So then you bring on an admin, and then there's new pressure of, well, you should have junior agents. So then you do that. And the next thing you know, you're a team lead and you're like, hold
And
on
now
a
you're
second.
training as well,
You're training your HR, you're sitting with your bookkeeper, and you're like, but that's houses. I just want to be over there
Yes.
with
Meanwhile, your clients
people.
are like, I never see you anymore. Are you okay?
I've funny enough, I've talked to a ton of agents who I just talked to an agent the other day. She's not actually not even an agent anymore. She's a coach. She had crushed it for like 12 years, 11 people on her team, decided to dissolve it and just coach. And literally overnight just took it all away, because she realized the joy wasn't there, it was over here. And
Yeah.
so she went towards the joy.
I love coaching too. But that's part of the problem solving, right?
It is. It's very much what we do with clients. Like, we're coaching them through
All the time.
experiences, and it's it's a one in the same. Like, I think the two are just, they're cousins for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know how we haven't sat down like this before and chat. Like, we always kind of bump into each other, say hi, but then I really enjoy and love being able to actually sit down with you. And
I know this has been some fun.
this has been great, and it flew by. And I really appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
But we're actually at the top of the hour, so that is a wrap.
What? So fast. Went by
Super
so
fast.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.